Alright boys, so there's a lot of things that I've noticed a lot of starting musicians do that is limiting their growth potential in their career, and I wanted to talk about some of these things and basically ask you to stop, because it's going to limit you in the amount of money you can make, the amount of fans you can get, and how quickly you can progress in life with your career. These are things that a lot of starting musicians do that established artists don't, and the reason why they don't do it is because it's been limiting to their career and they've learned to not do it and adapt so they can grow and become famous. The first thing is to worry about being heard too soon. Yes, it's true that the end goal with your music is to have as many people as possible listen to your music, become fans, consume it, and just ask for more so that you can live off your art and basically be happy. And of course, it's the goal that you want to look at long term. But when I say that you're worrying about being heard too soon, I mean that you have to do so many things first before worrying about scaling your operation. It's so useless to worry about getting big numbers and huge metrics, because even if you did, you wouldn't know what to do with it or how to capitalize on it to make it sustainable. I promise you, the worst thing that could happen to your career is have your first single go viral. It would ruin you because you don't know what to do with that. You don't know how to capitalize on the momentum. So the best thing to do is slowly build better music, learn to be consistent with your process, learn how to market music properly, and slowly grow a loyal audience that will be there whether your song is popping off or not. You'll always have that base retention audience. So don't worry about being heard by the masses. Don't worry about going viral. The most important thing to figure out is strategy, quality, and sustainable practices. The second mistake that musicians are making is they're not focusing on branding. You know, a lot of artists have an issue being put in a box and being labeled, because obviously as a creative, I'm a creative as well, you kind of want to be able to pivot and change styles all you want and try new things all of the time. But the real problem with this is that people struggle to put an identity on you. So when you're starting out, you want to focus on generating a brand that'll make you recognizable. If you want me to make a full video on branding, I can definitely do it, but these are some tips on how you want to focus on your branding. Number one is you want to make sure you have a specific sound that people can identify you with. If you want a genre bend, that's fine, but at least have the same mastering and mixing process that'll make your songs somewhat similar. Make sure you're using some similar presets. Make sure you're just keeping something consistent if you are going to change style, that'll make people recognize you whenever you release a song. You want to have a true identity, and you're probably going to develop that over time. When you're starting out as an artist, copy other musicians, copy famous people in your genre, and then try and blend it into your own style. The second thing you want to do is figure out 3 colors. You want 2 primary colors that you're going to use most of the time, and a third secondary color that you can use every now and then as accents in your art, in your profile pictures on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok. But essentially you want 3 colors that basically represent you and that are consistent throughout all of the places that you are present in social media or just online in general. The third thing is fashion. Even if you're not big on fashion like me, I can't dress for shit. Fashion is very important when you're trying to brand yourself personally, so figure out what style you like and make sure that every time you're in a YouTube video, that you're doing a performance in a concert, you're consistent with that style. It's really, really important for your branding. Another thing is when you're doing anything that has text related to it, so the title of an album, a blog post on your website itself, whatever it is, make sure you have a specific font that you've selected. So you can select, I don't know, Times New Roman. Don't fucking select Times New Roman, but it's the only font I can think of right now. If you're going to use that, use it every time you send out an email to your emailing list. Make sure that you're using it in your social media posts if there's text involved. Make sure that basically anything visual and anything emotional is always consistent across all of your platforms, and that way you can be consistent with your branding. And this is really, really important, because when people are first getting to know you, they're not going to remember your name per se. They're not going to remember your face per se, but they're going to remember a lot of how you make them feel and a lot of how it looks in terms of the aesthetic of your product, which is, and by product I mean music, sound, video, images, basically the whole package that you are as an artist. People will remember the aesthetic, so you want to make sure that it's consistent, so every time you post, people can recognize you immediately. And the third thing is probably the most important thing, so I really want you to pay attention to this and watch it a couple times, because not enough people in the music industry are talking about this when trying to help musicians get started in their career. And the problem that a lot of starting musicians have is that they don't have a target avatar or an ideal listener. An ideal listener, if you don't know, if you've never heard this, is a business term where you have to basically draft out the perfect person that you're trying to target with your music. So when you're trying to think, okay, I'm making music, who would be the best person in my mind? Who in my mind do I want to listen to this music? And what I want you to do right now when you finish this video is get a piece of paper, get a pen, and basically write down everything you can about this ideal customer. Write down how they look, how old they are, their gender, even if it's both genders, say, okay, I want to target men and women. Target where they live, target the other artists that they listen to, how many hours a day they're listening to music, how they listen to music, whether it's on YouTube while they're doing other shit, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Music. All of these small details I want you to write down on a page and post anywhere you can in your house, to always remind yourself when you're making music, it has to be targeted. You can make music as much as you want, all the different styles in the world, but when you're releasing it, you want to have a strategy that is always revolving around the listener. Because even though, yes, you're the one making the music, even though, yeah, you're the one putting in the effort, you're the creative, at the end of the day, everything is always about the customer. Which means if you have a very concise and detailed idea of who you're trying to reach with your music, you are so much more likely to actually resonate with that person, because you're doing things with purpose. For example, if you're a rapper and you're doing hip hop music, you're probably going to want to target late teens to early 20s men. If you then go and perform at a kids show on like a TV show that targets 5-year-old kids, it's probably not going to be a very good career move, and it's not going to convert a lot of fans. So you want to use your time, energy, and money to make sure you're targeting this ideal avatar. So when you finish this video, go and please honestly write your ideal avatar, your ideal listener, and always keep that in mind when you're making music and releasing music, more importantly. If you do this, I promise you, you will skyrocket your career, because you will start focusing on not just gaining numbers, but numbers that mean something. So subscribe, sign up to stanclubsite.com, follow me on Instagram. If you want to know, instead of the things you should be avoiding, the things that you should be doing just to get something like a record deal, you can watch this video right now.